children's playground. I moved into a new town. This was a much nicer, cleaner, quieter town than the one I lived at before. Not the sort of town you expect to have things wrong with it. There was a very big public park right in the center. It housed rows upon rows of swings, slides infested with snake-like tunnels that weaved in and around the playground, providing a maze for children to lose themselves in their games. There was even a functioning merry-go-round, which seemed to be always slightly turning, inviting the children to hitch a ride on the platform of twirls. I have to emphasize on the fact that this was a quiet, peaceful town, the kind of town where kids could leave their house on their own and take a short journey to the park. I had been given strict instructions by my parents that I should come home the second it started turning dark. My life was wonderful, or so it seemed. It was a Friday. I knew the day because I remember coming home with a big smile on my face, as I knew I had the luxury of non-stop playing for the next 2 whole days. I did what I always did. I chucked my bag on my bed and was ordered to change into other clothes. In a matter of minutes, I was ready to descend onto the world of fun. Nothing could stop me. The tunnels were my favorite. It was so easy to get lost in them, which made it great fun for playing hide-and-seek with my 2 only friends, Billy and Tom. They were both in my class, and we, like many 8-year-olds, loved any game that filled us with pure adrenaline. We were going to play murder. I don't expect anyone to know this game. We made it up. The rules were very similar to hide-and-seek, except when the one seeking you found you, they had to murder you. Pretend, obviously. It was nearing winter, as I remember being slightly cold as I wormed my way around the tunnels, fiercely trying to find a perfect hiding spot. Billy was the seeker. Tom had hidden behind the merry-go-round. I was alone. It must have been maybe 10 minutes, which for an 8-year-old felt like a year, and I had decided to do what all kids do when they get bored: give up. I give up, I shouted, my voice echoing through the tunnels. I'm in the tunnels. I give up. I heard someone shuffling from one end of the tunnel. Now I don't know why, but I froze still. I didn't call out again. I just waited. Something wasn't right. Billy would have always said something before coming in. He would always congratulate them on being last to be found, or for cheating and hiding in the endless maze of tunnels. I stood frozen. The shuffling grew louder. I could tell it was starting to get dark outside, as the tunnels slowly began to lose any light in them, slowly but surely, dropping into darkness. I began to slowly shuffle backwards. The shuffling ahead of me grew louder, as if someone or something way too big for the tunnels was trying to navigate around. Come out. It's time to go home now. A very creepy voice echoed through the tunnels. It sounded like when a grown man tries to talk to small children, talking slightly higher pitched. This was definitely wrong. I probably would have come out if the voice was outside, but it wasn't. It was inside the tunnels. Why would an adult crawl inside? As I was shuffling further and further back, the face of an old man appeared in the darkness ahead of me. Patches of hair on his head. Definite look of someone who hadn't showered in the last week. I couldn't see what he was wearing, but I knew it was tattered old clothes. He had a very sharp, scraggly beard, which was peppered with dirt. The second we made eye contact, he just smiled at me, revealing his filthy, unbrushed teeth, which had blotches of brown and black covering them entirely. I panicked, turned around and began shuffling on all fours as fast as I could. The shuffling behind me grew louder and quicker. He was chasing me. I sped through the maze for what felt like an eternity. I only stopped when my legs refused to move anymore. I had taken so many twists and turns that even I was completely lost. I don't want to hurt you. I just want to talk. The voice echoed through the tunnels. I could tell he was nearby. I pressed my body against the bottom of the small, narrow tunnel and listened. He continued to make soft cooing noises, begging me to come out and present myself. I lay in that tunnel for hours. No exaggeration. Even after I heard him curse to himself and angrily force his way out of the tunnel, I continued to wait. Thoughts raced my mind of me coming out of the tunnel, only to be met by the same smile that once greeted me. In the darkness of the tunnel, I could make out blue flashing lights on the outside. I heard frantic voices calling 3 names repeatedly. Billy, Tom, Michael. When I heard my name, my heart slowly began to calm. My parents had come. I easily shuffled out of the tunnel, guided by the wet dirt scrapings along the walls of the tunnel, the way the man must have gone. Outside, I was greeted by several police cars, flashing lights. There was groups of adults with concerned looks on their faces. I recognized 2 of them, my parents. "Mom! Dad!" I wailed, crying as I ran towards them. They began crying as they ran towards me, lifting me off the ground and hugging me so tightly, it felt as though I was being slowly crushed. Billy and Tom were taken that evening. They were later found in a nearby skip, mutilated. They had been brutally massacred. Their skulls had been caved in with a large iron bar, and their bodies had deep cuts everywhere. Large pieces of glass found buried in their backs. What chills me to the fucking bone is that the wet dirt I saw in the tunnels wasn't entirely dirt. It was Billy and Tom's blood. After slaughtering my 2 best friends and making eye contact with me in the tunnel, he just smiled. He would have won that game.